Awesome. What's up, everybody? This is Francesco, and I'm super excited to speak about everything around snaps. I don't know how many of you guys build snaps. I don't know if you guys want to have some live coding session. I will just go through like a little bit like what are snaps, permissionless innovation, and what we're building. So you have three main developer tooling around Consensys and around MetaMask today. You have MetaMask SDK, so for native integration. I think you guys, when you're building a dApp, you're going through like probably like Wallet Connect, for example, but you can also use SDK for like game dApps and specific things. Then you have like all the dApp API. So if you guys building like wallets or like specific, like you need some specific endpoints, you can also use the dApp API kind of like suits. There is a list. It's called like MetaMask Playground, and you have a bunch of those. And then you have snaps. That's kind of like the third category that we'll speak about a little bit around that. So I will, so welcome everybody. So yeah, I'm part of the developer relation team around Consensys, so on different products. I mostly like consumed like around 2 years deep diving on Snaps developer environment and onboarding more developers in our ecosystem through like, Infura. I don't know if you guys used Truffle back in the days, but yeah, now it's all about Hardhead and Foundry. And what else? And yeah, and also Linear. Like right now, deployments wise, I can also help devs deploying on Linear, the ZK VM type 2. But this workshop is all about kind of snaps. What about, yeah, so it's, this is like a quite fun picture from ETH Denver. I don't know if you guys hacked on ETH Denver, but that was in February. So so I'm not driving through too much. This is like was a full workshop. Then I want to do it a little bit like in a faster time frame. But basically like how everything got through Snap was mostly because back in the days we had something like 7,000 open issues in the MetaMask store code. And we said ourselves, what can we do in terms of like integrating new features and integrating new kind of like asks from the team, right? And everything started like that. And I'm starting like with all those slides around why we need more consensual web, why we need to build like a better Web3, and what are the principles, right? And kind of like I dig down like the three main principles. Actually, there are 5, but like everything that we're building around consensual web, around permissionless innovation, had to kind of satisfy those needs, right? The big one is like user-owned accounts, right? Obviously, like we are going in the safe account trajectory here, but kind of the long story short is that everybody know that we are in Web 2 like kind of our own product. We're getting monetized around our data, and one big principle that we want to build could be like RPC provider, could be like wallets provider, could be like different kind of infrastructure in the Web3 space, is mostly that every user want to have fully control on your identity, but mostly also the users information that you are sharing, the accounts that you are like transmitting to, but most important, you want to be able to revoke access. I don't know how many of you guys, even in browsers, if you guys know how many connections you guys have with specific like Web 2 application, they're never being revoked. Like I don't know, there are some toolings, but if you never use it, you probably have 500 plus like accesses to like given before that was never revoked. And that is actually crazy, like if you think about. So that's kind of like the first. The second is all about trying to like having a clear understanding what you're interacting with and how you're interacting with, right? Right now, I don't know, like the browser extension, for example, like it's quite clear. You're adding your extension, but that's what is happening. You don't know when actually the extension is diving into those connections. You don't know when. You can't revoke. The only things that you can do is disinstall it, but you still don't know because you have probably a bunch of like cookies and extra things being installed that are already connected with the old extension. Third one is all explicit requests. Basically, like what you want to have is a fully automated and ownership of what the requests are giving to the users, and they are processed through the dApp, and that's like one of the most important one. Revocable permission, I kind of mentioned already, is quite self-explanatory, but it's basically like being in charge of revoking accesses to dApps, but revoking access to anything that is kind of like accessing information that you are owning. And obviously it's not just private key, but it's also like different other things, even like Wi-Fi accesses, right? And then obviously share progressively. Like I think users today, they're very conscious that they are becoming, you know, the product. That's why we have everything kind of rebuilt from scratch from Web to Web3. And you always like, people will always be more shy, meaning like they will always start with something and they want to build up on specific things. Think about like specific extension. You want to have extension and future that are basically built on top of things. So kind of those are the three main, kind of like 5 main principles. And what else? So we want to build also for not just community feedbacks, but also like community tech stack, meaning like you want to activate developers in the community to actually extend the features of functionality of your things. Right now, it's not scalable. If a company is building their own tech stack and they're just waiting for feedbacks of developers, it will never be truly like scalable this. And this was example for us that we had like 7,000 like open issues. There is no way to respond to 7,000 open issues. Depends the quality, but I mean, if it's native integration, is developer tooling, is including like all the API of this company stack, it's you will never get anywhere. And also like one big part is obviously like trust for attestation, right? So stuff like Karma 3 Labs, ENS, Verax, they're all tech stack that are built on attestation, but also the last points on extensibility is super important because that's why, you know, all this modular blockchain kind of like ecosystem is booming because people also want to modularize things and they also want to be you want to build extensible features on top of specific things. Okay, cool. I will tell you now what the wallet or the future wallet look like. No, I will not tell you that because I have no idea. I can definitely tell you like how it will not look like, right? So one big part is obviously like PvP, player versus player. I don't think, you know, a company will kind of like own the narrative. We don't even know what really future users will need depending on the use case. We want to kind of like definitely own this kind of like sub-stack infrastructure for developers and builders in the ecosystem to extend the functionality of things. And also like obviously like, you know, there is no true solution on specific problems, right? You know, one thing I learned also like during the past years is that users have customized needs and they want to also have very specialized and fine-tuned journeys. Like right now, everybody obviously is using like MetaMask as extension or mobile, but every single person has different needs. You will see people that are interacting with, I don't know, like DeFi, Aave, taking loans. You will see that people actually don't care anything about this. They just want to, you know, kind of like drop and sell their NFT on a specific marketplace, right? So different needs, meaning different customization and meaning different journeys. So I mentioned a little bit already, right? So everything needs to be very user-centric. So that's why all these kind of like 437 and 7702 debates are happening right now, because users don't need to be attached to like, you know, private keys and kind of like onboarding to like traditional like Web3 standards. That's why all this kind of like discussion all about smart accounts, delegatables, revocable access, social recovery through emails, all these kind of things, right? Meaning like, I mean, it's a journey, right? We're trying to build like kind of like a much more like front user centric, and also like I think we lost completely like user trust for everything that is around Web 2, and I think like, you know, having users trusting Web3 ecosystem is actually like still a challenge, but with transparency, with making people understanding who are the author of those tech stack is extremely important, right? So trust. User that trust the technology, but most important is trust the people behind that are actually building a more transparent ecosystem around it. What else? Oh, decentralization, we mentioned that we want to empower community. Today, a Web2 stack is always getting like feedbacks like, you know, like, oh, open an issue there, open the integration there. So you have very kind of like passive feedbacks, even around docs. If you guys in the past like contributed to docs revamps, you always give feedbacks to either DevRels or like the engineering team that is responsible for that. But a lot of time you have no way to actually submit proactively like docs revamps requests or even like feature requests that are extendable to the product, right? Basically like communities are not really empowered. That's what I'm trying to say. And that's why, you know, like with all this kind of principle that we mentioned right now, how you really achieve scalable product innovation is through like permissionless innovation. That's all the concept, and I'm like super advocating this since like years, that the only way that we are scaling with the needs of the community and the ask from the community in terms of like product development is through a fully permissioned innovation that is going from like the DD to the onboarding to even the product building part. And that's why Snaps, you know? I don't know if you guys remember Snaps. We were, the first Snaps being officially kind of like tested was by Dan 5 years ago in DEF CON 2 it was about like super interesting. It was like a Cosmos interop add-ons that was tested on the extension between two wallets. And it was very interesting. And that basically we said, okay, how everything can be pushed to the next level through functionality extension. And that's basically where it started all the kind of like the Snaps environment. I don't know if you guys use Flask. That's the current version of MetaMask. It's kind of like the developer version. And basically you had for 3 years possibility to build Snaps through Flask. And they were never, you know, on prod, right? And basically like last year in permissionless, we launched officially the 50 official Snap, DD by the community. And I don't know if you guys are using, I'm using some specific snaps like the security snap. I will show you a little bit later. The only lesson learned that you want to take over today and for the listeners checking this video is that basically snaps are nothing else as add-ons that are extending the functionality of the wallet. Think about now different kind of like verticals, right? I put these kind of verticals, but you will understand very easy like when I'm speaking about non-EVM compatible snap. Today you cannot do BTC transaction of MetaMask. You had the BTC snap, you have BTC kind of like accessibility, right? And I'm speaking about native BTC transactions, right? I'm not speaking about on-chain through like a BitVM transaction. Same with like Solana. The Solana Snap right now you can get airdrops in the Solana ecosystem. Getting like the Solana Snap is quite interesting. There is also like non-EVM layer 2s like Starkware, for example. The Stark and Snap is super interesting that you can just use. And this is the non-EVM compatible Snap. It's kind of in the category of the interop. Then you have notification Snap. Basically with notification Snap you can get event triggers notified on your machine natively. So I'm not speaking about browser notification, I'm speaking about native iOS notification, meaning like, I don't know, and this is super useful for like gamers. I don't know if you guys played like Dark Forest or some kind of Web3 super degen games, but basically like what you can do every time that you're doing some batch, I don't know, asset acquisitions or like something is happening on the transaction side, you get notified directly. That's also super cool. Some people are also using for like TRAD, like DeFi TRAD stuff. Like for example, if they're doing like Aave loans, they're getting notified on like some borrowing intake. So every time that something is happening, you get notified. And then you have decentralized identity. Privacy is also super interesting. I'm super excited everything around the AA. Obviously like both MPC and kind of like social recovery. I don't know if you guys are following a little bit all the social recovery topic with Argent, doing like email social recovery. Basically, like there's these guys from Bogota, they build this social recovery snap that is working directly with addresses. So like, I don't know, like I think this is very big because it's not like a centralized kind of like social recovery plan, but this is fully like through different accounts. So basically what you're doing is you're adding this social recovery snap in like 2-3 accounts, and basically like within this snap you can basically sign on and you're getting the recovery through different accounts, and it's done directly through Web3 accounts specifically, and that's actually super cool. Transaction inside, I think everybody or a lot of like players in the ecosystem have transaction APIs, transaction insights APIs, but the cool thing is that with a transaction inside Snap, you have much more information around which account you are transacting with, which account are malicious. So every time that, for example, I'm clicking like approval for a transaction, yeah, you have some data points, but with, for example, some transaction inside Snap in the security category, you can basically get flagged if it's, for example, if it's orange or if it's red or if it's green, if like the contract, there is basically a double check screen from like the chain safe libraries that are basically telling you, okay, this account is something that interacted with a malicious account before. And that's actually super cool because right now, I don't know about you, but you know, I mean, I'm signing a lot of things that I have no idea how the account interacted with which account interacting with, all these kind of things. So those are the categories. I don't know if you guys, did you guys use Snaps before or not? So I can fine tune a little bit. Okay, but basically like, yeah, there are different categories. And I just wanna like, I put 2 slides because those are the main question that I'm getting, like for example, Snap security. Like Snaps are just an NPM package. Did you guys develop a Snap on Flask? So basically there are NPM packages that are fully siloed with each other. Think about they're basically boxed environment that every time they're doing something with the extension, you need to basically approve the transaction and the accesses directly, right? So repeating here, right? So every permission is being requested to the Snap, and basically this is something that I want to show you guys. So it's a fully transparency in terms of like extension management of accesses. This is the wallet guard Snap in the security category. And what you can see here is first you can go on the NPM package like kind of like information. You see where is hosted, you see the author, you see the DD of the author, you see which Snap he sent over, but also like you see also like which permissions are being requested from the Snap to the extension. This is the first things that you will see when you're adding the Snap to your main extension. And I don't know, you see stuff like, you know, access the internet. You see also like, you know, like specific cron jobs being added. You see like what he will do on dialogue setup. You see also like what is being requested in terms of like, you know, website allowance, and everything is super like transparent. But the cool thing is that it looks like a pitch, but it's not getting better, but like you can revoke those accesses anytime. So in your extension, you have your setting, and in setting you have the Snap setting, and you can basically revoke access, you can suspend the access. So different things that are happening on the back end that you're really like in charge of those things. So self-custodial, they're living in your wallet, and you're kind of in control of which Snap you want or you don't want, depending on the use case. Right now, a bunch of people are just interested in ODVM compatible Snap. Instead of having like different wallets for airdrop, they have like the Solana Snap, the Starknet Snap, the BTC Snap, and they're basically like doing transaction directly on that side. So like this is the so the main resources here are there is a Snap guide that we'll show you later. There is this 4 category: interop, security, communication, and account management. That account management is going in the direction of AA. And they're all available on snaps.metamask.io, right? And obviously, like, I don't know if you're hacking in Belgrade or if you hacked in Belgrade, we have 2 main things for devs. That first, build a Snap. Then you can basically like check the Snaps builder repo. And we have like a fully GitHub Snap discussion repo. In the discussion, you have different things. You have like a wish list of Snaps. It's actually quite interesting because you see also like what future Snap will be cool to see that maybe we didn't thought about, or like the community didn't thought about. You have also like open issues and directly on Snaps. You have also like some of the tutorials, they're super cool. And there are example Snap you can basically like take, fork it, and build on top of it, right? Bunch of people are starting from there is a example Snap they are taking and they're building on top of it for like specific other extra use cases, right? And then what else? I like also like there is a developer portal with some workshops on how to build the Snap from scratch. That's actually quite good. Cool. So I'm going now in a little bit like in a second direction of this kind of like topic because I think was super important. Was are you guys some DevRels? No, there are no DevRels. But basically it's all about developer acquisitions, right? And in the past maybe year and a half, I've been super focused on building frameworks for acquiring much more, let's say, with a much more like efficient standard, like developers in the ecosystem. Right now, every kind of developer relation team is speaking about, oh, hackathon are great, metrics are great, there are different like type of activity, the virtual hackathon are great, events are great, docs revamp are important. But every time that we're speaking about kind of like metrics and why is that important is always changing, right? And one thing I want to kind of share today is snaps are amazing, right? But if there is no user adoption or developer adoption or the ecosystem around snaps is not strong enough, like obviously like no one will kind of like adopt it or use it, right? Just to give you a little bit of perspective, like we have 55 allowed listed snap, we have maybe like around 1,000 snap being developed in the backend. We don't own anything of that. The community is fully owned all those snaps, and also like that's the part. Like the idea is that giving everybody like this platform to build on top and building new functionality on top of the extension, right? Also, like one big kind of value proposition is everybody's building their own tech stack, right? I don't know, do an example like push notification, right? He's building their own notification tech stack and they have their own API, right? And they want to build a specific like extension functionality. And before Snap, the only way that you could integrate the push notifications API inside MetaMask was submitting a repo, right? And the cool thing is that as snaps are fully isolated, you can basically interact with external API. So your own tech stack can be leveraged in bridging this connection, right? So going back on this, it's basically like, okay, building a developer ecosystem is key. Like building a cool technology like Snaps is not enough, right? And everybody understand that, right? You need to understand what are the true like developer needs. Like you can't show like on people's face how to build a snap. I think that's one of the worst kind of like DevRel tactic ever. And most important, like every time you're speaking with like this kind of thought leader, DevRels around the ecosystem, you want to kind of like speaking the same language, right? Speaking with the same things. That's basically why in the past like year and a half, apart like development and stuff, like I started building these frameworks, right? And I want to show you like only two framework because before everyone is sleeping, right? But this, I don't know if you remember this is Maslow. I started like 10 years ago, I don't know. But basically I asked myself, okay, how I can leverage this to actually put together the true builder hierarchy of needs, right? And understanding, okay, what are the must things that you want to have, like food, water, and sleep for developers before going to like, I don't know, to hackathons or going to like specific things. And that's where kind of like I converted this in the Francesco hierarchy of builder needs that I presented in a paper at Denver this year. And basically, this was nothing else as 5 main stages that are kind of like defining specific activation so that everybody is speaking about, okay, now we are understanding those things. Because right now, with a lot of product I'm speaking with is, oh, people want to do virtual hackathons, but their docs look like really bad, right? They have no solid docs. They have no classic like ISO education tutorials. So a lot of difference are lacking, right? And I will not go through it, but you have mostly like the important part, like being in flagship hackathons, having some access, having your docs in place, mostly having your 5 minutes, your 10 minutes tutorials on your docs, and having embedded also some videos. And then having this kind of basic education and training. Nothing else as when I joined Consensys, what was that, 4 years ago, we started Consensys Academy, and Consensys Academy was one of the most powerful at the time onboarding for like Web3 developers, right? And these kind of things, without those things, you can proceed upper in this pyramid, right? And then the second part, and I will stop here, is this kind of like ecosystem building, this kind of like building this safe space for builders to actually criticize and really understand what is important, and criticizing you. Like, we get feedbacks, you know, UI of MetaMask is bad, you know, you should focus more on this security feature. You should add integration on specific things, right? And a lot of time, a lot of products, they are not really focusing on building this safe space. And what does it mean this? Nothing else is like building, you know, developer meetups, building like Web3 and not specific like activation, right? Like ecosystem community calls, instead building your Snaps community call, you know, different things. But basically, like, this is kind of like one way to speak the same language and having people really like sharing their own idea, because from there you can start speaking funnel, you can start speaking metrics, you can start speaking about different things. So this is the full paper. I don't know if you guys are realizing, I can share it later. And basically, yeah, 4 main points, also like as kind of like lesson learned. Obviously, like you want to focus on edtech and curiosity. You want to avoid, and this is also like one big lesson learned, you want to always avoid Web 2 marketing strategies. So anything that is not relevant for developers and technical content is not super satisfying. And also, most important, this is really like hands-on recommendation because of Snaps. My experience with Snaps was you really need to be honest what was going or not, right? Our transaction API didn't work for like 3 months, right? And we were going to hackathon, we were going to Lisbon, and people were crashing their Snap. It didn't work. We didn't know what's happening. And the lesson learned there was that we started using hackathons to basically build better docs and satisfy like specific like bounty needs. We were going to like Lisbon with the transaction inside Snap bounty. Then we came back afterwards to Istanbul with the keyring API for Snaps. So specific usage of like events IRL that basically pushed the engineering team, pushed us to go back home and reiterate on things. And one important part of this is also like not just hackathon. You need to understand where the developer is in which funnel, right? You will have beginner developer, you have more difficult developers, and you will have also like people that are much more in a stage that is lower in the funnel. And now we are coming to basically like the last and the second framework, and this is nothing else as the kind of like developer engagement funnel. And the cool thing is that probably like speaking with maybe 90% of companies today, it's that everybody is doing this product conversion, product-specific conversion, everything lower in the funnel. Like not a lot of companies, maybe, you know, like, I mean, obviously Snap, but also like stuff like Gitcoin or like more impact developer tooling company, like, you know, DAO treasury management tooling, these kind of things are all doing this kind of like value-driven onboarding, right? And basically like, long story short is like, this is full shield, this is no shield, right? And people are, to getting like in this safe space, people care about only about this, this part, right? So what you want to have is driving like, you know, ecosystem developer meetups, ecosystem community call, where we are pushing like different topics. You want to have like a full like, you know, dev center and podcast around this topic, right? And people are coming to me, they're saying, hey, why I cannot like make developers build on this layer 3 degen chain, right? And one big part is always like trying to actually speak about what is the layer 3 landscape, why people need it, right? So very like more agnostic things. And then you can go down in the funnel and starting to speak about, you know, direct engagement strategy. You can start speaking about product workshops and the specific things. And this basically, we applied that through Snaps, and it worked quite well. We also like started a bunch of like activation, like I don't know if you heard about Builder Nights. We're also doing a Builder Nights here in Belgrade in the Tenderly office on Thursday. So if you guys are also like planning to come, feel free to jump in. And yeah, so different activation for different type of the funnel and different kind of like devs. So that's a little bit, right? So I just want to recap on this. We spoke about, you know, everything around permissionless innovation and why this is super important. Why we want to have that is to unleash really the innovation, to have everybody really building functions and extending the functionality of what the product is today. And always think about that, you know, building the vibrant community around your product as a strong or even more value proposition compared to having just your a solid product or team. And yeah, and then basically like, you know, like I think like not just DevRel, but building authentic activations, like around, for example, what happens with snaps was super important, and it's something that is, you know, it's something like it's growing, and it's kind of like it's a marathon, right? Not a sprint. And then also like trying to make people understand that it's not just about giving feedback. It's about like you right now, you have, I don't know how many dev tooling there is in kind of like in Web3, but right now with all this kind of like snaps language, you are able for the first time to build extra functionality on top of the extension today. And I'm excited about different things. You can ask me questions, but one thing is that super excited that I never see this is the extending the functionality of UI components. Like, you know, right now, you know, everybody knows how the extension works, what is MetaMask, but think about that you are installing a snap, and the snap is basically like adding like specific button or UI interaction, and that's super powerful, right? Cool, yeah. But then thank you so much, and let me know if you guys have any questions. We can go through the snaps if you guys want, if you have any questions, or we can just build something. Go for it.
If you can elaborate more on the social recovery in a decentralized way.
Yeah, so I can show you a little bit. I can show you the, if we go together into Snaps Marketplace. Is your internet working?
Hopefully, yes.
Yes,
Hopefully,
sometimes.
yes.
It's a little bit bad.
Yeah, but basically like social, so basically there is different social recovery. There are like actually like right now there will be a full account abstraction category. Also like with safe accounts, with the safe SDK, it's quite interesting. But social recovery specifically is like, for example, one snap is working with account recovery. So basically in the account recovery snap, you are defining which wallet, similar to a multi-sig, you are deciding which wallet you are giving approval and ownership, and basically afterwards what you can do is when you are in the recovery state, you basically go to the 2 out of 3 wallets. You're basically like requesting the private recovery phrase, and it's basically getting in the wallets that you have. Is that clear? So basically, it's not working like email recovery, for example. It's fully like permissionless. It's fully like it's fully on. That's one, and then another one is basically like you get notified through a notification. And that's also the other one. What else? There is also like some other like security snap. They're doing basically transaction insights, so transaction flagging, malicious account flagging. There is also like some. There are like the transaction insights. There is the security snaps. There are also like one from BlockFence is also quite interesting. You know BlockFence? Basically, they build like basically like again they are basically like taking like chain safe libraries for like malicious account and everything, and they are able to basically, if you activate the snap, they're able also like to revert or block directly the transaction. So even if you as users are signing a transaction for a specific airdrop, you get reversed in the meantime. So it's kind of like a time. There is a time step on the signature that is being added.
As if like they're watching the mempool itself.
Yeah.
Like, and if you're about to interact with kind of malicious
Exactly.
contract, they have.
Yes.
If you are subscribed, of course, for this.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there are different ways, but I mean, the goal for those security snap and the account recovery snap is giving much more endpoints for the user to make a decision. But obviously, like the goal, we can't enforce, you know, you not clicking the button, because at the end of the day, Web3 is all about self-ownership and kind of like.
I'm just thinking about like the normal end users.
Yes. So.
Yeah, my question is like, any plans for social logins, social media logins?
Yeah. So right now, so MetaMask SDK as a direct. So the question is, any plans for social logins? So with MetaMask SDK, you can do native integration already. With so you know that whenever you are adding Ether.js injections, you are going through like the Ether.js libraries. But basically, like, and you can go through Wallet Connect. That's now 99%, no, maybe like, let's say 90% of like a dApps developer are doing. But basically, like, one developer tooling of MetaMask is also MetaMask SDK. With the SDK, you can do native integration. And with native integration, you basically, like, you can do QR code scanning with your mobile directly without going through like all the authentication. And you can also add, in theory, that's what you can do, but you need to, it's not in the SDK. You can add also like logins, seamless login with socials. But but this need to go through other providers.
Like normal Web2 users who
Yeah.
like, we need kind of a trustless way for
Yeah.
them to get onboarded on Web3.
Yeah.
So something similar to the Web2 experience for them, like to interact.
Yeah, that's why
Holding a private key is not the
Yeah.
best thing for,
Exactly.
like even for us.
That's why there is the safe account development. We're all also working on delegations. So basically, you will still, I mean, I'm still a big believer that, yes, you want to have a better journey like that, but also you want to have a better journey, you want to have safe accounts, but having someone that has the ownership of those private keys somehow, right? So meaning like you are building still safe wallets for like, you know, could be like family members or something. The onboarding is very like easy, but you still being like you have still some ownership. Like someone need to be a delegator and someone need to own
The rest
right?
yourself.
Yeah, exactly. You know, because I mean, you will always have like delegation requests from anybody, right? That's one part of the answer. The second part of the answer is I'm super excited what I said before about UI components extensibility, because think about that you are able to add, I don't know, like a social login snap, and the social login snap is automatically adding a button for, I don't know, like Facebook logins or like Okta logins or something like that.
At the end of the day, like where the private key will be saved and how you can like aggregate like the
Yeah. But that's why like delegation is the next steps to go a little bit more on the, I mean, delegatables is one of the biggest topic that is basically like going next before even fully like decentralizing tech stack, right? That's one thing. And then the other thing is that I just want to say that snaps are extending the functionality of the wallet today, but also like I think in the future you have pre-installed snap based on the configuration that the user will ask. You will have something like, I don't know, like Francesco, boom, is getting there. He said, I'm into NFT, I'm into DeFi, I don't know, right? I'm into security, I don't know. And basically, like clicking that, you have pre-configured snaps, direct downloaded. You just need to basically approve the, like all this transparency on the other part, and that's it. Something is working here. Is it a bit here? It's a bit like clearer. Yeah. So basically here, what you can see, you can just go on, those are some of the snap. You can do account management. Like this is also like quite interesting. This is like an MPC wallet, you know, Safarian. Basically they build a snap. This is also Capsule. So Capsule basically like it's all MPC. And this is basically like a silent shard. It's basically like doing 2FA shards around different wallets. So basically you can log in and doing social recovery through like 2FA standards, like Okta or Auti, all these kind of things. That's also quite cool. You know, my best advice is always like try out different snaps, disinstall it, install it, and do it directly. The cool thing is that, for example, with Silent Shard, for example, if you're able to do delegatables, you are the owner. You create 2-3 light accounts, right? And then you have like people that are entering directly with like QR code scanning. No password, no social interaction, literally QR scanning through mobile. And I think this is super easy to build. I mean, what I want to also like say is that you will always, as I mentioned before, you will always have like a delegation process. I mean, value, I mean, if you're going even one level higher of the discussion is that, you know, someone need to create the value, need to delegate the value, and you need to be able to transact with these value owners, right? Or you can just don't care and trade your privacy with with kind of like easiness to onboard, right? You can also do that, right? But we are trying to build with those 5 principles in mind. And yeah, you saw the principle, right? Or you arrived late? Yeah, a little bit later. Huh? Yeah. But basically, I will share the slides after. But I hope it's a little bit like clear. Any other questions? Or everybody want to go back to work? Awesome. Thank you, everybody.